you should not be steaming if anything is happening down there. That's hot. I gotta get up. Ooh. If you're using a pot, you're not able to control the heat, which is why I love to use a crock pot. However, this is what it is, right? So I am going to let that cool down a bit. I'll get back on it in a second. But it felt good. But you know how it's like, feels good for a second, it's like too hot? That could happen. And if it gets too hot, get up off the pot. It is supposed to be comfortable. It is not supposed to burn you. It is not supposed to hurt you. It is not supposed to be a painful process. And when I sit on my pot, I'm usually there for at least 45 minutes to an hour, depending on my setting, because I can sit on a pot for a very long time. Okay. And while we're waiting, I went and grabbed my journal. So I have my actual journal, my Yoni Steam journal in here that I use. I just poked holes in it and put it in my happy planner. But I love to just like write my notes about how I'm feeling, the herbs that I use, what's going on with me during that time frame, and my notes. And then I put my blend that I'm using here because I like to mix herbs and I want to keep track of what I'm using and when. So I know how I'm feeling with what herbs and what's best for me. So yeah, keep my notes in here. I usually write out my affirmations while I'm on the pot, so I'm gonna do that. And if this is your first time actually hearing about this Yoni Steam guide, I'll leave a link down below, but it has all the herbs in here. It has over 70 herbs in here. So I break it down in the back with like conditions, things that you may be going through in your life, and also a couple of blend options for you. So you're not starting from square one, AKA scratch, when trying to Yoni Steam. And then also that helps with your understanding if you're like buying herbs from somebody, so you know exactly what's in there and what will help you and what you may not want, because it might do the opposite. Now you know what herbs will help you depending on where you are in your journey. So that way you know what herbs to stay away from, because not all Yoni Steams are created the same. Okay, let's get back on the pot. How long do I sit on the pot? For about 45 minutes to an hour is my usual time, which is why I have time to answer questions, because I'm here. I'm on the pot. Another question is like, what is my herb to water ratio? I do talk about it in the herb guide. So for about 7 to 8 cups, I like to use at least 1/4 cup of fresh or dried herbs in the water. That's just like the basic ratio. So that's that. And now, since I'm on this page, when not to steam, when should you not steam? So about what herbs to use for a UTI. And I honestly haven't answered that question because I wanted to do a video around it, because you should not be steaming if anything is happening down there. If you're bleeding, if you have yeast infection, if you have a UTI, or if you're extremely agitated down there, aggravated down there, skip the Yoni Steam. Skip the Yoni Steam, because steam is only going to aggravate it more. And then also, if you're pregnant, you definitely don't want to Yoni Steam because your cervix is trying to keep it all together. And some herbs might cause you to actually contract. So stay away from it in those scenarios. I received a lot of other questions about when to do it. So of course, we're not Yoni steaming during our cycle. So how far ahead of your cycle and how far after your cycle? It really just depends on what's happening in your life, right? Like if you are currently experiencing menopause, both naturally or chemically, or if you are trying to conceive, or if you have painful periods, like your timelines look different. So for me currently, we are still trying to conceive. So I'm not going to steam after we do the do. I'm not gonna steam after we do the do. I'll steam before we do the do, but after all the way up until my cycle is about to come on, I don't steam. Let me clarify. So steaming looks different for me because we're trying to conceive. So sperm can stay alive in a woman's body for 5 days. So if we did the do, I'm not going to steam within that period of time. So usually I will steam days before I know my cycle is about to come on. And then right after my cycle comes off, I love to steam too. If you're on a fertility journey, tea is everything. A bath is everything. Okay, oh, my crate size. So the crate, I think I put it in another video, my actual crate size. I'll put it down below here too, and I'll put it on the side or something like that. But my crate just fits perfectly over my crock pot. So if I had a bigger crate, I would have been okay with that. If I had, I don't think I could use a smaller crate, but anything that you can put, if you're doing the crock pot method, just a crate that actually can go over your crock pot is gonna be a win. So just keep that in mind. It's not really an exact measurement because most crates look the same to me, but I'll leave my exact measurements down below. And then another question I receive is, when I'm using my crock pot, do I put my herbs on first on the stove and then in my crock pot? And that's a yes, because at first I would just put them in my crock pot and then sit on them. But I wasn't creating enough steam, right? So the crock pot will keep it hot, but it's not going to boil your herbs the way that you need them to be boiled before sitting on them. So keep that in mind. So I get a lot of questions about specific herbs, but I wanted to do another video for painful periods, another video about how to actually use herbs with UTIs or around other times of the month in situations. I'm gonna give some herbs for UTI, but if you can't wait for that, it's all in the herb guide, y'all. Let me show you. The herb, I have a complete herb list of all herbs that I think are great for Yoni steaming. And these aren't all the herbs on earth, right? However, there are a lot of hallucinogenic herbs out there that I did not mention. However, there are some in this one, and they have an asterisk by it just in case. And the reason why I put that in there is because I put the original chi yolk steam in here that has mugwort in it. So keep that in mind, but just breaking it down, I have the UTI herbs in here. So herbs that are good for a UTI, and again, asterisk, do not steam if you are currently like experiencing a UTI or a yeast infection or anything like that. You do not want to steam. You want to put these herbs in your tea, put it in a bath, but steaming is not the answer. So mint is great, corn silk, chamomile, parsley, green tea, cranberry, garlic, bearberry leaf, wormwood, and horsetail. And then, yeah. Oh, for painful periods, let me go through that list really quickly. So for painful periods, if you're just having like cramps, right, and painful periods, that's one thing. But if you have endometriosis or any of the sister disorders, fibroids or things like that, like there are some other things that you want to look into, which are in here too. But basically for like cramping and painful periods, cinnamon, dong quai, I'll put them up here, y'all. Oat straw, peppermint, raspberry leaves, rose, wild yam, chaste tree berry, cramp bark, yarrow, tarragon, and more, right? But for instance, one of my blends in here is called a painkiller, and I added turmeric because turmeric is really about the inflammation part. So if you are dealing with painful periods, inflammation might be the key to it, but also it might be connected to an actual disorder. So, or another disorder, because painful periods is a disorder. But I added turmeric, ashwagandha, which I love to drink and sit on, cinnamon, raspberry leaves, burdock root, which is great for endometriosis. It's a blood cleanser, really, really key. And then lavender, of course, because we need a feel-good herb there. So that's that. How long does the process last and how often? So going back to my original statement, it really depends on what you have going on in your world. If you're just doing it primarily for self-care, girl, do it as often as you choose. It's like, how often do you want to get a facial, right? Like once a month, twice a week, whatever tickles your fancy. But if you're doing it for health concerns, then you have to follow a specific window of time to get it right. Maybe I'll do like a sheet. If I don't have it on this video, I'll do a sheet with like time frame for painful period, infertility or fertility, endometriosis, things of that nature, UTI, those type of things. So that way you know when to follow it. I can do that. There you have it. We are steaming on the pot. I'll leave the link to this pot, which actually feels so much better because it's like it's meant for your butt to sit there, because it's actual toilet seat. It's the outside toilet seat, but it's a toilet seat. Anyways, I'll leave a link to this down below. I'll leave a link to the timer if I get it done before this video. If not, I'll put it on the next Yoni Steam video. And if you're here for Yoni Steam videos, we're gonna have another Yoni Steam video every week going forward because we just have so much to cover. So stay tuned for more videos. Make sure you like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and leave a comment down below and let me know what else you want to see here. But all right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace. Ooh.